Hi everybody, this is Joel Isaiah and I'm back again today to share with you a new fantasy roster prediction guide. This guide will be specifically made for the Stockholm Major, and if you follow this guide, you will have all the help that you need in order to likely get the top 90% in your fantasy points. So in this guide, what I will do is that I will take you through the general strategies that you need to know for setting your fantasy rosters. Next, I will go through important card bonuses in your fantasy card. And lastly, I will go through the tip of the iceberg, which is to specifically nail down which cards and which player to choose in order to give you the edge to be in the top 90 or even top 100% among everybody else. As I go through my sharing, I will also share this guide from Hockey74, his daily Reddit guides on the fantasy, where he shares general strategies and some statistics for you to refer to. I'm sharing by looking at this guide in this video because this guide has been really helpful to remind everybody on what to take note of and on some numbers that they can look at. The difference between this video and his Reddit guide is that I will elaborate on the strategies, I will share with you certain anomalies and other things to look out for, and I will lastly share with you how do you really decide on the best of the best cards to be among the top in fantasy. Lastly, I will also share with you an example by showing you my group stage day 4 roster for tomorrow. As you look through the example, I hope that this video will help you to set the best roster for tomorrow as well as for the rest of Stockholm Major. Thank you for watching again, and let's just dive straight into it now. Now, when we talk about the general strategies of the fantasy roster, the 5 main points are captured here. The first being that we first look at the games that will be played on the day. And the first strategy to take note of is to favor the teams that will play more than one series. This is especially the case during the earlier parts of the group stages and the playoffs. So let's say in the playoff, you are choosing among the teams, and certain teams may play 2 series on that day. If they lose a series in the upper bracket, they may end up playing another series in the lower bracket. Otherwise, the rest of the teams may only play 1 series. This is the case where you may want to choose a team that may lose the upper bracket and then yet play another series in the lower bracket and have 2 series during that playoff day. The second strategy is to favor players from the team that will likely win their matches. This is especially important for the core and mid player cards. For choosing your core player cards in the fantasy and the mid players, you especially want to choose those that will win their games, because it is those that win their games that will get many kills, that will die less, and will likely take more towers and more Roshan. For the support players though, you don't necessarily have to always choose support players that win their games, because as long as the support player consistently scores well in fantasy, like they plant many observers and stack many camps whether they win or lose a game, then for support, what may matter more is choosing the best card and the best support players rather than whether they will win the game or not. The third thing is to favor players from teams that have longer game. Example of that would be OG and Fnatic. OG is a disciplined team, so as much as they pressure the enemies, they don't necessarily rush the high ground. Fnatic is another team that tends to drag the game on and get their items. So if you choose players from those teams, they likely have longer games and have more time to take kills and to plant observers. Fourth, in the core slots, favor the carry player. In the recent Stockholm Major, there has been exceptions to the rule, where days that certain offlane players like 33 score even higher than carry players. This is because 33 may pick a hero like Visage and get many kills, participate in most fights, and took many towers. But that doesn't always happen. So as a rule of thumb, still always choose carry players. Last of all, when it comes to support, you usually choose the hard support player. But this is not always true. If you look at a team like Tundra, between Saksa, who is a phosphor, and Snaking, sometimes Saksa is the one that plants more wards than Snaking. So when it comes to choosing the support role, the primary decision is to choose a support that plants many observer wards. I hope this helps you with the strategies. So let's move on then to card bonuses, and how do you decide in general which are the best cards to choose if you have gold or silver cards. For the core role, the carry roles, you usually would like to choose the players that have bonuses for deaths, for kills, and tower kills. The next most important would then be team fight. But the most important things to have on your core cards are kills, death, and tower kills. Now for the mid, the most important one would be deaths, kills, rune scrap, and then team fight. So mid and carry are similar, except that for the mid, instead of tower kills, it is rune scrap that matters. Now for support, the most important one is observer wards, with a whopping average of 30 points. That is way higher than all the others, like it's even 3 times that of deaths. So you really want to prioritize any of your support cards that have observer ward bonus, especially if you know that support player plants a lot of wards. Aside from that, then you could look at the camp stats, deaths, and team fights. So these are the general information. Now what I will do is that I will help you now to really decide on how to pick your cards and get the edge to be among the top 100%. How do you do that? I used this general stats that is available by the public, and what I did is I created my own copy, named it DPC Fantasy Data color coded by Joel, and I will make this available in the link in this video under the description. This color code that you see here, organized by filters, will help you to know which cards to choose. You will be able to decide on which are the best cards in the core role, the support role, and the mid role, and why those cards are the better cards. Not only that, but you can also see why the cards is the best based on what are they doing well in. For example, if you look at the top core, it is Pakas from Thunder Predator, and the reason that he is so high up there is because he gets way more kills than the other carries. He does well even for less deaths. He has very high GPM and tower kills. And remember, kills, death, and tower kills are the most important bonuses for carries. So if you have a Pakas card and it's a gold card, and you have bonuses in kills, death, GPM, tower kills, and team fight, you can see here these 5 things that are highlighted. Then even if on that day even if you put Pakas in your whole fantasy roster from the first day to the last day of the Stockholm Major, you might still be in the top 90% because you rightly choose one of the top scoring carries in your card slot. Not only that, but you have the right card bonuses, and it's a very high card bonuses. 3.76, 20% bonus of that would be almost 0.8 points. So do take this into account, and you can refer to my sheet here in order to really know whether the card that you are choosing will have a high bonus points. So I hope this is helpful so far for you. I hope it's not too many numbers and it's not too confusing. But even if it is, don't worry, because right now I'm going to help you to decide on your group stage day 4 roster by showing you my roster. This is my day 4 roster for the group stage and these are my players. Let me explain how they are made the choices. So I have Uragi, a gold Uragi, and a silver Pagas in my core slot. If you recall earlier on, Pagas is the top for the carry players, and Uragi is also among the top scoring. He's here. So now let's go back to the Dota. Remember that for a carry player, kills, death, and tower kills are the most important stats. In my Uragi card, he already have kills and death. That alone is significant. And not only that, but he has a 20% bonus in stuns, and Uragi does score at least about 1 point in stun, so that's quite significant. If I pick my Uragi Go card, it can't go too wrong unless OG loses horribly and Uragi dies a lot and fails to get many kills. But if you look at day 4 of the group stages, these are the matches. Every team will only play 1 game, so I don't have to decide among teams that play 2 games. So the only thing I then have to decide on is which team will win against the other team and whether the game will be long. As I mentioned earlier, OG is a team that tends to play long games as they are disciplined and do not easily go high ground. And BetBoom is a very strong team. They are a dark horse that showed up in this tournament and they haven't lost to any team in the group stages. And I think that OG has also been gaining momentum even with Seb as a stand-in, so this will be a close series. What that then means is that it could be a 1-1, but either case, the games may be long games and not one-sided storms. That gives me all the more reason to choose Uragi. Now, why did I then choose Pakas? I chose Pakas because he's a top scoring carry card as we saw, and not only that, he has bonuses in kills, Roshan kills and stuns. If you look at the sheet for Pakas, kills is the most notable stats. For Roshan kills, he have one of the highest Roshan kills, and remember if he manages to kill Roshan, that's already 4 points, and I do think he will likely kill at least 1 or 2 Roshans. Stuns, he's okay on that department, but the main thing is that Pakas, he is the top scoring carry, and I have a kill bonus, and he likely will kill some Roshans, and I'll get some bonuses. You look at his opponent, Thunder Predator versus TSM. Both Thunder Predator and TSM are ranking similarly in the group stage right now. This may end up being a close game, and so I do not know whether it may end up being that TSM 2-0's Tundra Awaken, but if that doesn't happen and it's a close series, then I'm quite sure that Pakas can still consistently score high. Aside from that, I do not have that many other core carry cards, and I don't really have that many of them that have bonuses. I have Skeeter that can be considered, but I don't think my Skeeter card can nearly compare to Uragi and Pakas. Now let's look at mid. I have Lar. Lar is one of the top scoring mids. Lar is the 5th top scoring mid, and he is notable for deaths and team fights and runes grab. Look at my Lar. He have a 15% rune grab bonus. This alone gives me a strong incentive to pick Lar for my mid card because Lar is already a top scoring carry. BetBoom is fighting OG tomorrow, which will be a close series, longer games, and then I have the runes grab, long games, more runes grab. So yeah, it's almost no-brainer to pick this card. I could also pick Boom, but Boom isn't scoring that well for the fantasy points. Also, Gaimin Gladiators will be facing against Fnatic. So yeah, there could be a case. There could arguably be a case for me to pick Boom, because Gaimin Gladiators and Fnatic, I do think it favors Gaimin Gladiators, but we can't be sure. And Fnatic is a game that drags the game out, so there will be long games. But the only reason that I don't choose Boom is because although he has a rune grab bonus, Lao is the one that grabs the most runes among mid laner. So I will have a bigger bonus from Lao than from Boom. And Lao's he scores higher fantasy points on average compared to Boom. Let's wrap up this video and finish off with the supports, shall we? So in my supports, I have Jarex and DJ. If you look at my Jarex card, he's a pause 5 and I have Ops Ward planted. I did note from his matches that he does plant quite a lot of observers, so at least I have an observer ward bonus and I know that I will score many points from that. Also, Jarex is among the top scoring supports, at least in the top half, and he does have a significant amount of Ops Ward planted. The other stats here are kills, crit score, GPM, and Roshan kills. And if you look at Jarex, he does score quite high in kills as well, so that's another incentive. Lastly, EG is facing potential elimination tomorrow, and the only way they stay into the major is if they beat Beastcoast. And if there's one opponent that EG might have a chance to beat out of desperation, it may be Beastcoast, because they are the bottom 2 in the group. So this series may be a longer series, so that means more bonus. So yeah, I think it's a clear choice for me for Jarex. I know that if you look at the list, right, there are other supports to choose like Scam or Whitemon, but most of these top supports, they are not going to play tomorrow. Liquid is not playing, Spirit is not playing, T1 is playing, Whitemon is playing, but sadly I don't have a Whitemon card. Next up, I chose DJ. My stats of DJ are Death, GPM, Tower Kills, Camp Stack, and Rune Scrap. These 5 stats are not related to observers, but let's look at DJ's stats. If you look at DJ, his significant stat bonuses above other supports are Death, GPM, Tower Kills, Camp Stack, and Rune Scrap. All 5 of my bonuses for DJ are significant in other areas that DJ score more points, and DJ is already among the top scoring supports. So if I pick DJ with such bonuses, I will score quite a lot of bonus points. Now, if you look at Fnatic versus Gaimin Gladiators, I did mention that series may have longer games and it could go either way. So as such, both of these supports may play in longer games and have many bonuses. So this is my roster for day 4, and I hope that the Excel sheet that I've created with the color coding, my thought process for choosing this roster, and the general strategies and bonuses that I share with you will help you in your fantasy roster for the Stockholm Major. With that, thank you so much for watching, and all the best in your fantasy roster. And I trust that you will also get top 90% for your fantasy too. Bye bye.